are, you lovely people. Ryan, you got away scot-free as well, didn't you? Well done, buddy. Right, we are going to start some clapping for me. By the way, if you want to have a chat during the act, fuck off and do it. I don't know how to say that in a nicer way. There's a little bit of chatting while Eleanor was on, and it's just like, if somebody around you's being a prick, just shush them, all right? Fuck it off. You've paid for your ticket. You deserve to be able to listen. Right, we're going to welcome your next act to the stage. So, start some clapping for me, please. Some clapping, some whooping, some cheering, and welcome to the stage, Nathan Darcy Roberts!
Oh, hey guys, how we doing? We good? Awesome, you sound good. It's lovely to be here. I was listening at the back, finding out where some of you are from. I'm a mixed race man, so I get often asked where I'm from. Happened recently, right? I was outside of a pub waiting for a friend, and this woman on the other side of the street, she sees me, she crosses over, she goes, "Excuse me, where are you from?" So I said, "Luton." And she said, "No." "Where are you from?" Now, look, I knew what she was getting at, so I told her where my parents were from, and she was like, "Oh, okay, bye-bye." So I walk off. So I call her back. I'm like, wait. Why do you want to know? Why is that important to you? And she goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Miscommunication on my part. No, it's just because you looked weird. Bye." Across the fucking street. I'm a brown boy. I like being brown. I get brown privilege. But not all brown people get. Okay, a couple of allies in the room. You've earned your woke badge for today. You did, but not all brown people get privilege. That's a sad thing. I've got colorism in my community. So how much privilege you get depends on how brown you are. And how brown you are is assessed using a scale. The scale that I use, it's called the Jackson scale. Some of you are ahead of me, okay? Now, the Jackson scale, it starts at Michael. It goes all the way through to Jermaine. Me, I'm a Janet. Got some Janet fans in the house, nice. The like is a good time to be a Janet. But the thing is, because I've got ambiguous ethnicity, sometimes people think they're being racist with me when they're being racist to me. Happened recently, me and my girlfriend are getting a cab home after a night out. It's about 3 a.m, and the taxi driver starts up a conversation. He's like, "You all right, mate? What's your name again?" I go, "My name's Nathan." He goes, "Yeah? My name's Clyde." Great. So I make small talk, right? I'm like, "Oh, is that Clyde with a Y or with an I?" And he goes, "Nah." With a C. I was like, "I like you, Clyde." You're my kind of guy. And we go past this club, right, and there's a huge queue outside this club. It's a fucking heavy club. The people they play house music in there, which I can't listen to house music. Like, house music to me just sounds like hate speech in Morse code. I can't do it. There's a huge line outside, and Clyde goes, "You see that club out there? There's a lot of violence in that club. And it's the blacks. Every time it's the blacks." And it's around this time, between me and you, as I started to go off Clyde, and I said, what you should know, mate, it's actually both me and my girlfriend, we're half black. So Clyde, in his wisdom, he did the only thing you can do in that scenario, and he turned the light on. To have a look. And he goes, "No, I ain't talking about you, mate. No. Oh, no, I ain't talking about you. Like, where are you from? I go, "I'm from Jamaica." He goes, "Jamaica? No, I love Jamaica. You know, Bob Marley, rum, other stuff." "Nah, I was talking about the Africans. They're the ones who cause the trouble. It's the Africans." I was like, "Hi, Clyde." He goes, "It's the Africans who cause the trouble." I was like, "Nice save, Clyde, but what you should know is actually my girlfriend is from Ghana." She's also mixed race. On the Jackson scale, she's a Latoya. And Clyde, he knew his back was against the wall, man, so he does the only thing you can do, and he turns that light right back on. And as I looked at him underneath the light, I felt bad for him, right? Because I want to be empathetic, I want to engage with people, I want to understand people, even though I think that their views are deplorable. And as I looked at Clyde underneath the light, I realised that he was just a bad racist. You know, I mean, all racists are bad morally, but he was bad in the sense that he was ineffective. And I didn't know what to do, because I hate conflict. Like, for me, like, conflict is for manly men, and I ain't no manly man. And obviously, I mean, look at me. I don't look like a manly man. I look like the villain at a dance academy. I look like I should be up against a locker telling a freshman he'll never make regionals. So I said nothing. I left it. I just went back to my girlfriend's flat. But as we went inside, I stopped in the hallway because I could see that she was upset. I could see it, I could sense it. And I said, baby, you okay with what just happened? And she goes, yeah, look, it's fine. It's fine. Because let's face it, it's not the first time it's happened and it's not going to be the last. But one thing really pissed me off. And that's that I'm not from Ghana, I'm from Sierra Leone. So I turned the light on. It's a pleasure to be here. I've just been with my girlfriend. I was living back with my mum over lockdown. Give me back with your parents? Liars, fuck you. What a flex. Now we'll have jobs, thank you. I recommend it, right, moving back with your mum to anyone who's looking to downsize on finances and self-esteem, because you regress so quick. It was 3 working days I was back being a little baby bitch with my mummy again. See, I've got friends who have wasted thousands of pounds to travel the world and reconnect with their inner child. I'm like, why? Just move home with your mum. They're like, oh, when I was 21, I did ayahuasca in Peru, and it was a total ego death. I'm like, yeah? Well, when I was 31, my mum asked me why I keep rolled up toilet paper under the bed. That was an ego massacre, friend. It was a tough time. 'Cause I'm a late bloomer, right? My friends are settling down, they're having kids, they're getting mortgages. Me, I spent the pandemic sat in my childhood bedroom, scrolling through pictures of my exes and the new baby on Instagram, flagging it for offensive content. It was all right. I was staying in Luton. Give me a cheer if you've been to Luton? All right, I'm going to rephrase that question. Give me a cheer if you've been to Luton for any other reason than the airport. What? Why? That's... Ugh. That's wrong. That's like going to a strip club for the music. That's... It's not why it was built and you freak out the regulars. It's all right, though. I like it. Me and my mum have got a very good relationship. We really get on. I don't have a great relationship with my dad. Most people in Luton don't. It was kind of great, because when I went to school, like, so many people came from single-parent families and low-income families. That was weird to have a relationship with your dad. Like, one time this kid called Darren comes into class, so happy. He was like, guys, you never guess where I'm going next weekend? I'm going skiing with my dad. And everyone was like, Darren fancies his dad. Which was nuts, right? Because Darren's dad was Butters. My dad is very different to me, right? My dad has sort of been most of my life on and off the wagon for drugs and alcohol, in and out of prison. Like, I don't like the kind of guy that if I went to prison, it would be something like illegally downloading Moonlight. Like, I don't see like the kind of guy with a dad who went to prison. I look like I was adopted and raised by Fraser Crane. I only visited my dad in prison once, about 10 years old, and I don't really remember much, but I do remember that Monday, I crushed show and tell. That's what happens. When you visit your dad on Saturday, you crush show and tell on Monday. The other kids are coming in class, they're like, this weekend, I went strawberry picking with my uncle, and here is a strawberry. I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna dunk this shit like Jordan. I go up to the front of the class. I'm like, this weekend I went to prison to see my dad. This is a snitch's thumb. The teacher's like, and what did you learn this weekend, Nathan? To keep your mouth shut. One thing I do remember is that, and it's, the only memory that's like really stuck with me is that there was a toy box in like the waiting area, which makes sense. Like prisoners have got children, and the children should be able to see their parents, and they should be entertained, and like God just kept like active in the interim. But it just felt weird to me. There's a toy box in a prison. Like that's now my pitch for Toy Story 5. You know, I want to see Woody and Buzz hit the big house. I want to see Buzz change his name to Buzz Alt-Right-Year, join the Aryan Brotherhood. I want to see Stinky Pete earn that name. And if Andy draws his name on the bottom of your shoe, that means you're his bitch now. You got a friend in me. Like, I don't speak to him that much. We don't really have much of a relationship. I never hear about him second-hand. So I'm going to tell you the story now about the last time I found out that my dad was in prison. It takes place about 10 years ago. I just moved to London with 3 of my best friends, and we're in this, like, shitty flat above an internet cafe in Shoreditch. Not to brag. And I had it on good authority, right, that this internet cafe was a front. It was money laundering, and they actually sold weed, which makes sense to me, because I'm convinced that every fucking shop in the world sells drugs. Like, how does any shop in modern high streets make money? You go into an off-license, everything's so old, it should be in black and white. You pick up a can of Coke, it's written in some language you've never seen. You're like, which language has the duck? The only thing it says in English is multi-pack, do not sell separately. So I was like, it checks out, it probably is a drugs front. So we drew straws, I drew the short straw, I've got to go down and test the waters. So I'm like, how do you broach that? How do you start that conversation? You can't just walk into Curry's PC World and be like, excuse me, sir, which aisle has the dankest kush? I'm like, what if he says no? What if I ask for drugs and he says no? How am I going to get out of that situation? I'll have to suck his dick. There are some faux pas you can only suck your way out of, as has been my understanding. So before I went in, I sort of took a turn around the block, like I worked out what I was going to say. I sort of built up my confidence. I bought some chapstick, and I go in, right, and I instantly realise it's a front. The guy behind the counter is a big motherfucker. This big bald head wearing a puffer jacket, big motherfucker. He looked like how Vin Diesel thinks he looks. He was big. And I say to him, like, excuse me, mate, can I use one of the computers? And he goes, no, they're not connected to the internet. So I was like, in that case, I'll have some drugs, please. And it was, we were living in a fucking flat above a drugs shop. So I was like, sweet, the life is perfect. So I go back home, and me and my friends were like, we're getting high into the night. And it's about 2 a.m., and we're watching TV. Well, we're not really watching TV. The TV is on, you know? Like, it's just sort of, we let it run, it's playing whatever it's gonna play. And what it happened to be playing at this point was a documentary on BBC Three hosted by Russell Brand about the prison industrial system and its approach to drug reform. So I'm packing this bong, right, sort of paying half attention. Out of the corner of my ear, I just hear Russell Brand go, we're now going to speak to Bernard about his experiences inside. And I look up, and it's my fucking dad. Now, I don't know if any of you have had the news of a parent's incarceration broken to you by a verbally dexterous former shagger of the year. But it's a lot to take in. And the thing is, like, I'd never spoken to my friends about this, so they'll be like, they're all very, very liberal, and they'll be like so sweet and like empathetic. They're like, oh, these poor men, the system lets them down. They fall through the cracks. And I'm coming out like this closet conservative, like, they're not all good. This Bernard seems like a rat cunt. Lock him up. Lock him up. Because these are my oldest friends, right? My oldest friends, but they've only ever known me as the product of a single parent family. And the problem was, I didn't think this was the right time to bring it up. Because, you see, they were white. I mean, they still are white. But they were white then, too. In many ways, even whiter. And I ended up in a situation where I'm like, Dave, you know that time you made that joke about how all black people know each other? And I said that's actually a really lazy stereotype. And no matter how far back we go, if you make jokes like that again, we're done. Well, this random crackhead on the television is my biological father. And the worst of it was, right, I just moved to London with the intention of starting comedy, and who knows, maybe one day I'll be on TV, and who knows, maybe I'll be like rubbing shoulders with the comedians that inspire me. And now here I am, packing a bong in a shitty flat in Shoreditch, while this motherfucker hangs out with Russell Brand on BBC Three. I'm like, he can't even have shoelaces and has got better connections than I do. But it's all good. I moved to London now. I've just moved back after living at home. I live in East London. Give me a cheer, everyone from London. Oh, welcome, my fellow cunts. I have a real relationship with London, right? Like, to me, London is that friend that you've known forever. You know, like, they screw you over, they owe you money, they fuck your girlfriend, but you love them. You love them. Why? Because they got coke. So you keep them. All right, and that's my litmus test joke. Find out who in the audience is cool. I heard a clap over there. Let's hang out after the show. I like it. One thing I noticed about my area, though, right, is that my local McDonald's plays classical music. And at first I was like, wow, gentrification has gotten blatant. Fucking classical music at McDonald's, what next? Come see Les Miserables in Londis. Turns out it's got nothing to do with gentrification. McDonald's plays classical music to stop people from fighting. And it works. So next time you're enjoying a 20 chicken nugget share box, the only thing preventing you from getting your head kicked in is Brahms. It's true, right? They do it in high violence areas, in like problem zones. They play classical music to keep people calm. So with this logic, if you're in a McDonald's and they're playing something intense, like Killing the Name or Smack My Bitch Up, then you have stumbled into a town full of pussies. And I'm glad, because I don't want to get in no fights, right? I don't have a fighting frame. Like, I'm tall, but I'm not fighting tall. You know, I'm the kind of tall that when I put my hands in the air, it doesn't look like I just don't care. It looks like I'm surrendering. Like, I've got a very gangly frame. It's hard being gangly, right? Here's what's hard being gangly. When I fuck, I look like a spider trying to escape a glass. Show you, we have a volunteer. Welcome him to stage. Just a minute, we're gonna find a giant glass and it's gonna be like that bit at the end of the Crystal Maze and they're like fucking like looking for cash. I'm glad you guys got it, 'cause I said that at a gig like seriously quite recently. Someone in the front row going, I don't get it. And I'm not going to fucking explain my joke like a hack. So I did what any comedian with any integrity would do, and I went to the end of the gig, and I found him, and I fucked him. And he was like, actually, right, that is very funny. That is accurate. So they do, McDonald's plays classical music to keep people fucking calm. And I get it, because have you been to McDonald's past midnight? One person is triggered. It's carnage. I don't know what kind of reverse Cinderella bullshit happens in McDonald's, but past midnight turns people into savages. You go to McDonald's past midnight, you don't look for the big M in the sky. You look for a shit-faced girl crouched down barefoot, going to town on a hamburger like Gollum by the riverbank. You go inside, people are fighting, people are fucking. There's one guy there with his family for some reason. You're like, why have you brought kids here? Why have you introduced your child into this culinary squid game? Like, I should say something. I should intervene. Then you see the kid. 8 years old, tracky bottoms, topless, six-pack. You're like, it's not my place to judge. One guy in MGMA trying to start up conversations like, do you like chips? For those of you who may be unfamiliar with MGMA, it's a crystal-like substance that turns perfect strangers into potential business partners. Changes something in your DNA. It makes you fucking savage. Like last time I was in McDonald's past midnight, some guy behind the counter said, I'm sorry, sir, but you've run out of barbecue sauce. I almost put my fucking thumbs to his eyes. So they play classical music to keep people calm. Like, I want to know, did they experiment with like other genres beforehand? Like, we tried playing R&B, but just everybody got fingered. Just everybody got fingered. I went up to the counter, some guy said, do you want to sit in my filet fist? I was like, this is not going to work. So they play classical music. And I get it, right? Because as a genre of music, like, it's visceral, but it stirs the soul more than it stirs the body. You know, like you can't fight to classical music in the same way you can't fuck to classical music. Like, if you're fucking to classical music, then you are a serial killer. If you're fucking to classical music, you're either a serial killer or about to be the victim of a serial killer. And what I like about that joke, there's always some guy in the audience who's like, guys, you've been so much fucking fun. I've been Nathan Does Roberts. I'll see you guys again. Good night.
How good is he? Give it up for Nathan Darcy Roberts. Yes, please. More of that, please. Right, we're going to have one final break and then we'll be back with your final act. But give it up one more time for Nathan Darcy Roberts.